just realized I've escaped the cage that I've been living in my entire life, but the invisible bars are still trapping me. Hey, what's up, family? Hope you're having a good day. If not, you know what I always say, be mindful of the thoughts and intentions that you're currently holding because they actively shape your reality that you're experiencing. So I opened things up the way that I did because, and as you see, a little mascot just jumped up there that inspired this video. I mentioned previous videos that I had just adopted a cat and never thought that I would be a pet owner, or I don't really like saying pet owner, but I say a pet companion, a pet friend, because just like anything, they teach us more about ourselves than we quote unquote teach them. And definitely the lesson that I'm going through and learning right now in this moment. I was sitting at my computer just now doing some work and had an epiphany, as they say, and didn't want it to let it get away and wanted to sit down in the moment and really capture the thought and the essence of it, because it's helped show me how I'm still allowing the invisible bars that that used to hold me, or the bars and the cage that used to hold me no longer exist, but the bars there that still exist in my mind, or I'm still allowing them to influence. So she's down by the camera kind of looking at things, so if stuff shakes, then it's kind of her being naturally curious there. So, but in essence, just looking at how, because of the work that I've done on myself, the internal work, and how the internal work that I've done on myself and the changes that I've made, how I've outgrown the old cage that I was allowing to limit my potential and limit who I am and showing up as an authentic version of myself. So you say, great, now that I've gotten rid of the cage, what's next? And that's definitely something that I've been saying for the longest time, but I've never stepped out there really to explore things with this newfound freedom and this newfound expression that I find myself having. And I never really thought anything of it in a moment, and it wasn't until adopting Ikchal that has really impressed upon me how I'm still limiting myself, and that there's an energy inside of me that's caged up, that's ready to go out, that's ready to explore, but I'm still limiting it because of those old self-conscious beliefs and those limiting beliefs that I'm inadvertently and unconsciously holding on to. And I say that and came to the realization because when I adopted Ikchal, I was told that she had a very interesting past. Didn't really go into too much detail as far as what happened, but I was told that she didn't get along with other cats, and that basically they had to put her in a room by herself in order while they were fostering her, because of the things that was going on and stuff. So I don't know any of the intimate details, but I know that when I fostered her, when I brought her home, she was very scared. She was very skittish. And even to this day, was it February, March, April, May, going on almost the fourth month. On June 20th will roughly be about the fourth month that I've had her and we've been together. And so she was very skittish when I brought her home, which I would say typically any new cat to a new environment would be, but she very quickly acclimated to things. And even today, she has gotten rid of a lot of that skittishness, that scariness. You might see a tail come flying. So, there you go. So, she's definitely gotten rid of that skittish and scary nature to where she's very exploratory of the environment. I've done a lot to try and give her a peaceful environment. Whenever I leave, I try and remember to turn the TV on, so that way that has soothing music on, or scenes of birds or something that will keep her attention and will stave off the boredom, so to speak, I guess you would say. And for a lot of times, she definitely responds positively to that, but I can tell that she wants more. She's craving more. She really loves the environment because I had to take her to the vet last week, and it was my first time, going to the vet. I was really apprehensive and kind of nervous about picking her up and putting her into the carrier to get her there. And luckily, we were able to get through that really well. I got a couple of hisses and whatnot, but she went in and we got into the car and we were going there, and she just started making these sad kind of crying noises. And I equated it in my mind that in these instances where she was in this carrier going on a trip, it was because she was leaving the foster home and going to like PetSmart, various environments where she didn't enjoy. And the adoption agency that I was talking to relayed that as much. She said that she hated it being at PetSmart. Whenever they tried to engage with her, she was always scratching them and doing various things that just showed that she didn't want to be there. So as we're driving to the vet's clinic, it was during a time when my ex was with me, so she was sitting in the back with her. But Ixchel was basically every so often was just doing this sound that sounded like she was crying. And it really broke my heart and made me feel bad, like some evil person, even though I was taking her to a location to make sure that she was okay and that she was healthy. But it was just the sentiment that she was just sad because she deemed that I was taking her potentially back to PetSmart or getting rid of her or taking her back to the environment that she came from. And while being sad, it also made me feel good because it showed me that I had did a good job in creating a warm and nurturing environment that she really loved and she really enjoyed being part of. So that was one aspect of it. We went through the vets. So she had some kind of allergic reaction to her ear, so they gave her a shot and came back, and she seems to be fine now. So I have a lot of plants, so that's part of it, as you can see in the background, is really making sure that she doesn't get into those things and whatnot. So definitely still working on that aspect of pet companionship. But what really impressed me today was cat owners always talk about the Zoomies, and I've learned that that's because of the energy, that hunter instincts that they have, in essence, not being able to be expressed. And so it gets pent up. So you can think of it like for us, pent up energy and not allowing ourselves to experience things. So that way she has these bursts of energy. So this morning, I have this scratching board at the end of the bed that she likes to sit in and kind of nest in, I guess you say, from time to time. So this morning when I got up out of bed and I was walking through the edge of the bed, she was right on the corner of my bed. I didn't really see her. And all of a sudden she kind of jumped out at me as if she was like playing. And, I started talking to her, giving her rubs and stuff like that. And she started rolling over and spinning up. But then I got up, proceeded to go to work. Well, I work from home, so proceeded to go to my desk area, and she followed me in. And then all of a sudden, for the next, I'll say 10 or 15 minutes, she was just running back and forth, really excited and whatnot. And it gave me the thought that, yes, while I've created a warm and nurturing home that she feels safe in, there's still a part of her, those natural instincts that she has in her that she wants to express. It's no diss or dig into the environment that I've created for her, because it's the same environment that I've created for myself. But it comes a certain point that now that you have this stable environment, you have that peace of mind, that energy in you that you've never been able to express and embody is there, and it's ready to come out. It wants to come out. But are you still allowing those invisible bars that has dictated your movements, your thoughts in your life prior? How are those bars that once were quote unquote visible, now that they have been removed, how are you still allowing those invisible bars to control and dictate your life? And it got me to thinking about myself. Now that I've created this environment for myself, this sense of peace to where I don't have any drama outside of the typical 9 to 5, the 9 to 5 work situations, that comes from that. But I don't have anything really going on in my life like I used to. The chaos, the frantic nature, always being on go, here back and forth. I wake up, like I said, I work from home, I go to my desk, I do my job. Once I'm done, I can do whatever I want to. I live in a downtown environment to where I can walk out my front door, and within 2 or 3 minutes, I can be sitting down at the restaurant enjoying the outside element, networking and talking to other people. But I don't do that. I wake up, I go to my desk, I work. I have side businesses and side activities that I take part in right now, but in essence, that's my life. Waking up, going to work, then caring for the side businesses that I have, and then coming back, going to sleep, and then repeating it over the next day. So just like Ikchal has that hunter spirit in her, that pent-up energy that she's looking to express in any fashion that she can. Right now, the only way that she can really express it is just by ripping and running around the house. I've bought toys for her, for us to try and engage with one another. But because of that skittish energy, she's reluctant to engage with those things. So I've backed off from a standpoint to where I put the toys out. When I see them, I've got her like little mice and stuff that she has, and I will throw those mice out whenever I see them, kind of in front of her. I've got a laser pointer that I will play with from time to time, but I'm learning that sometimes the laser pointers can do a little bit more damage because it gets cats hyped up, but then there's no thrill of the kill, I guess you can say, because you just turn the laser pointer off and it disappears, and there's nothing else for them to calm the nerves down like it is when you're stalking a prey and then you catch the prey and then that hunt's over with. So it just got me thinking to myself, what is she mirroring back to me in this moment? So in this moment, to me, she's mirroring back that pent-up energy, the energy that wants to get out there and express themselves and wants to live this life, that has the thoughts, the ideas, the emotions that comes from seeing the life that you want to live, but not truly embodying that energy. So it just was showing me that I'm still, despite not being in that cage anymore that has dictated and I've been in for the majority of my life, that I'm still allowing it to impact my current situation right now when there's no reason for it, there's no need for it. Like, what is it that's holding me back, that's keeping me from going out here and experiencing these new adventures, these new opportunities that I've allowed myself to, in the past, not to experience? And I apologize for that. Sorry, so you can see this is kind of real time stuff. But, what things do I want to experience that I'm not allowing myself to experience because of these invisible bars? And it really hit me between my eyes, I can say in my third eye, because I've just been content with things. I've done a lot of work on myself to get to where I am now, to where I want to rest, and I have done the resting. I have done the reflection, that internal work on myself to realize where it was I was and who I am now. My 3D reality is reflecting this new version of me back to myself each and every day. So I'm confronted with this new version of Brandon and who Brandon is and who's Brandon's becoming. But Brandon is still limiting his own self by not engaging fully in his authentic vibration. So part of the situation now is looking at myself, or continue to look at myself, and looking at areas or where those invisible bars are still keeping me from showing up as my authentic self, the version of myself that I get glimpses of from time to time, but never fully embody because of those invisible bars and the fear that comes with stepping outside of that. Something as simple as, like I was saying, having restaurants that has outside eating areas that I can even see outside of my window. What's stopping me from getting up and just going out there one day and just sitting out there, even if not getting anything to eat, just getting something to drink and just sitting out there and enjoying the environment? Because you never know what may happen in that moment, but you do know what will happen by you not experiencing those things and staying in the house. Nothing will happen. So at the end of the day, what's the worst that can happen by you going out there and sitting down in an environment and taking in the ambiance and just being grateful for the day? There's nothing stopping me from doing that except for myself. So I'm limiting myself in from experiencing the new things that life has to offer me right now. I've worked so hard to get rid of so many different limiting beliefs, which shows me that I can do it. The fact that I was able to recognize it in the moment shows me that my consciousness is in tune. I'm grounded in myself and in my reality because I was still enough mentally to be able to recognize her running around and the behaviors as being a mirror to myself and what I'm experiencing currently in my reality and what I need to step out of. It's okay, Mama. Come on. So, and I'm thankful for that. So, I always call, ever since I got her, the movie Pretty Woman with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts really held resonance for me whenever I picked her up. I actually watched the movie not too long ago, and it was about a man who has a lot of money. I'm not sure if he's a billionaire or not, but he basically has a lot of money because he buys companies and he pieces them out and sells them off. And so basically he meets a woman. I'm not going to go into her, career profession at the time, but he meets a woman, and in essence, through their interactions with one another, she changes him and gets him to see a world from a different perspective, and vice versa. She gets to see a different world that she didn't experience before. She had no experience with. And I would say that's exactly the scenario that me and Ikjal have, basically the dynamic that we've played with one another. I've given her access to a world that she hasn't experienced because of her past, her traumas. She was a stray, being out in the streets, and then going from a foster home back and forth to PetSmarts to eventually being adopted by me bringing her home and now giving her this environment, this world that she didn't know. And in turn, she has helped mirror back to me a version of myself that I don't want to say stuck in, but I've found a new sense of comfort in. Whereas a previous part of my life I've found comfort in, now that I've graduated from that version of myself, instead of continually progressing forward, I've found comfort in the place that I am, just like I did before, and allowing it to limit me in the experiences that I welcome into my life each and every day. So it's amazing how something as simple as a cat running around the house can trigger an understanding within us. And my question to you is, what things in your reality right now are mirroring versions of yourself back to you to get you to look at things that you're currently experiencing, especially the things that you want to change? What things in your current reality is being mirrored back to you to show you the version of yourself, to show you the things that you're currently limiting yourself unknowingly, that's preventing you from stepping into that reality? Because I will say, I did not expect this realization to come from a cat having Zoomies and stuff. But it's been an eye opener. And guess what Brandon's going to be doing more of? Brandon's going to be getting himself up out of this house and going down to the local eatery and sitting out. And even if it's just simple as just enjoying a drink, while taking in the sunshine, listening to the birds chirp, feeling the breeze across my skin, because that's the exact environment that my soul is calling for, those expressions like that, those outlets. And I'm done ignoring my spirit, ignoring my soul, and ignoring the pulls that I feel in certain directions. So, as I say, what pulls are you ignoring? And I just have to say, wow, thank you for Spirit for putting this on my heart and putting this on my mind. And I'm grateful for it. So, oh, there she goes, takes it off. So she had to make an appearance there. So thank you, y'all, for being a mirror in my reality to help me continue to grow in this experience. So I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you all so much, and hope that this helps you in some way. If anything, just be more aware of your surroundings and what things are being mirrored back to you that's there to help you grow and expand your consciousness. Have a good day, family.